friend that Rob did the tribute of Ted Nugent for.
Oh, okay. That's a small world.
Yeah, because he and Rob used to go to Nugent all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever he came out here, they'd go wherever Ted was, if he was, within, from here to San Diego. So he and Rob got real close, and that's how I ended up getting close to Rob. And here I ended up moving on the same street as Rob.
Yeah.
Who lives right across the street from the guy who does the COVID jams.
Yeah.
And, so it all works out. Yeah.
That's funny. That's weird how that's interesting how that all works out. I was all my stories seem to start with I was talking with my wife and saying I need something that says NP on it, or Newbury Park or something like that on it, because just to wear for the jam or just to wear around town, because I this is the first place that I've moved since I moved away from Pennsylvania. This is the first place where I'm just like, okay, I can, whether I like it or not, I can feel my roots digging in, you know, and I think that's when when you've found a place that you can call home, and even before then. Because I moved out to LA in 2002. If I was going back to Pennsylvania or something like that, I'd still be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm going back home for a little bit to go just like visit. For a couple of weeks. I'll be back, in 2 weeks. I'd been living in LA for 15 years or something like that,
Right.
And but now living here, I remember going back to visit Pennsylvania and saying like, "Oh, we're heading back home tomorrow." Referring to here instead of there.
Right.
And that's kind of back to that topic again around word choice, When your language or the way you use language to refer to things changes, it's made a big difference,
Right.
That's interesting. One thing I always thought was funny is when we first moved to Pennsylvania not two, but from where I was just a little kid, like 1 or 2 years old, up to where I spent my whole time growing up, and that my family still lives around now. When we moved there, you could still call somebody on the phone by just putting in the last 5 digits of the number. And
that's how it was here when we moved
here.
Yeah.
Did they have they had that
just
too?
last 5 digits, yeah.
Last 5, yeah. I always thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I remember fielding a call from a prospective patient, and I could tell it was like just tell in the timbre of the voice, it was an older woman on the phone that I was speaking to, and she was giving me her phone number, and she said 805 something, and then the last 4 digits, and I said, "I'm sorry, could you repeat the exchange again?" And she goes, "Well, you definitely must be in your 60s or 70s at least." I'm like, "No, I'm not." She's like, "I haven't heard someone refer to the exchange of a phone number in 30 years.
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, I looked that up on Wikipedia once, I think, just, I wanted to know what were the different, I know that the last 4 is the extension and the first 3 are the area code, but I was like, well, what's the middle 3 digits?" And that's the exchange. I learned it by just looking it up because I was curious. And she's like, "Oh, well, there you go."
Right.
But yeah, you can tell when, the way people talk about things, and how their voice or how their way of referring to it over time changes how they feel about it,
Right.
There's an emotional weight to words, I think, Well, I think it's just very true. You refer to gardening and you say one year that you're going to go pull the weeds, and the next year you're going to refer to it as ripping them out. You're doing the same thing,
Right.
But why did you choose those different words? I think those things have different weight, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you play any basketball after high school?
I did. I my senior year, I had several offers, but they were all basically out of state. And I was a homeboy,
Oh, all right.
So I thought, well, I'll go to one of the junior colleges and get picked up out of there, because I just really wanted to stay. The one that I probably should have jumped on was up at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. But I just didn't think I was going to fit up there in their program Coach was not a real offensive-minded coach, so I don't think I would have fit. So I went to City College up in Santa Barbara, and the worst things that can happen. You get hurt, you recoup, you get hurt again, transfer to another school. Now you're going to go off, and I was going to play at a couple of colleges during the summer. There's like a showcase where you can tuning up over here at the high school, playing with a bunch of buddies. I blow my ankle out. And it just got to the point, it's like, yeah, you know what? I think I should probably start looking at some way to make a living.
Right.
So I put it aside, and that's when I got into construction.
Wow.
3-4 injuries, you start getting a little discouraged.
Wow.
And you can start, kind of start seeing the writing on the wall. But it was a great experience.
Yeah.
You meet a lot of people.
What was your game? Outside shooting?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Nailed it right away.
Yeah.
There you go.
Rob would know, because he was just a kid. He'd watch me. Rob and I are, I think, 4 or 5 years apart. But yeah, I'd like to get up and down, score a lot. There was probably one of the schools I should have gone to was West Texas State. At the time, there was one of the guards on the team was a guy named Maurice Cheeks, who played in the NBA.
Yeah, Mo Cheeks. Mo Cheeks and Moses Malone.
Yeah, and he was a guard there. And I remember the coach telling me, I want you to just be my shooting guard. And he said, because I got this dynamite guy who plays point, can pass, he get you the ball.
Wow.
But it was West Texas.
Right.
That's pretty flat up there.
Yeah, it's pancake.
Yeah. So I passed on that. When that probably should have been where I probably should have at least given it a try.
You don't seem much. You don't seem like a very regretful guy, though.
No.
It's interesting because you have no problem talking about the opportunities and where they were.
Sure.
But your voice doesn't change. You're calm as a bomb.
Yeah. You look at it. You're 18 years old. All this stuff's coming at you, hard and fast.
Right.
I look back on it, and it's like, I still played, when I could, and I think I made the right choice, and I got into construction in like 1979, and it was just booming here.
That's when this house was built.
Right.
August.
I came and looked for work when these houses were being built here.
So did you talk to Jim at that time?
No, I didn't talk to Jim.
Oh, okay.
There was a foreman, I can't remember, but at the time they had a full, a full crew. But that's what it was. Okay, you don't want me, I'll just go right down the street. They were building down the street, or I'll go up the street. They were building up the street. It was, it was Boom City.
I tell you that he helped me build this room.
Yeah. It's funny because when I was remodeling my house, I knew that we were on a post-tension slab. But, Jim came over and made sure I knew. He goes, this is a post-tension slab. And I said, yeah, I pretty much figured it was. And he said, yeah, but remember, it's a serpentine post-tension, which is different than a regular post-tension. And I really appreciated him letting me know. Because then I started talking to him and realized that he was some kind of a superintendent.
Yeah.
For this project.
When we were demoing down he took Jim's family to me at this point. I feel very close to Jim, and he took away all my fear of tools, and he made me a very handy guy. This was just a garage bay. He showed me how to take that out, and how to T111 it in, and how to build stud walls, and how to shoot down Walmanite, and I'm probably that term I've learned that Walmanite is an outdated term. I think they just refer to it as pressure treated wood, right? Or just you put down Fortiflash and shoot down the bottom plate and put the top plate on correctly, and how to isolate it away from the joists above, how to build a soffit, how to pour a footer, all these different things,
right.
And how to hang a door, put in a header, all that stuff. What tools to get, how to handle them, all that. And we were demoing out this drywall here, and I look up in the joists and see some writing there, and I'm like, and I'm like, well, what's that up there? And he's like, oh, it's just the writing, just saying what the the top board of the stack and just what lot's going to. And I was like, oh, that'd be funny if that's your handwriting. And he goes, oh yeah, that's me.
Oh,
I'm like, really? And he just grabs a piece of drywall and writes the same thing again. I'm like, that's you.
That's
and
funny.
he's like, yeah, I remember, cutting the board, and I guess the park here was the lumber yard.
Yeah.
And they'd cut all the board there and then just send it over to the lot and build them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he knew he wanted that house right from the get-go. And that one's way overdone, he said. He's like, that one's way overdone compared to all the other houses. He's like, I knew I wanted that one, and I put extra stuff in there.
Right. So, good for him. Yeah, that's a plus when you're a superintendent or a foreman on a project. And that's not uncommon on the tract homes. A lot of times, foremans or superintendents.
You want to buy the foreman's house.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting to know that. But yeah, his knowledge of all the houses and of what's in the ground around here and how everything's run. I mean, he's a wealth.
Yeah.
And and just showing me like photos of the area and like what it was like when building it and stuff like that, And that's a good guy.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because we knew some of the same people being in the trades. There were, because the people I was talking to about were older than me, but he knew who they were. Because they'd probably cross paths. If you're in this business long enough, especially in an area like this, and you can stay busy, you run into a lot of the same people. Jim's a good guy. I really like Jim.
I want to jump back to basketball.
Yes.
You have to tell me at least one heroic story, like end of game shot, something awesome that you did.
Well,
I need at least one.
Well, this was a team thing. We came in third place in the league, and they threw us into the playoffs and said, you had a good enough season, so we're going to put you in, but you're going to play the number one seed of another division. And it's like,
Gotcha.
Okay, bring it on. So we go down to Morningside High School, and we beat the team handily. So then we get another shot, but it's a home game. But we didn't play it at home. We played it at Agora High School. We played another number one seed, and we knocked them off.
Look at this.
And then they said, okay, you're lucky enough to get another home game, which we couldn't play at home. You had to play at a neutral court, so we played it at Thousand Oaks High School, and they were another number one seed, and we knocked them off. And then we went to play another number one seed way down in, I can't remember. It was way down in like the San Bernardino area. And we went down there and we got down by about 3 points. And back then you could hold the ball. There was no clock. So they held the ball for the rest of the game, and we ended up losing by 5.
Oh my God!
Next game would have been the championship game at the sports arena, which would have been the first time. And that's the furthest, other than the 1981 team that Rob was on. They ended up going as far as we did. So our Cinderella season kind of got cut a little bit short. But I think if the rules would have been the way they are today, we might have been playing for the championship.
Well, being an outside shooter and someone likes to score a lot, I bet you actually kind of like the way the game is played now.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think we're seeing like the most skilled basketball right now. I was a little reticent at sometimes it gets a little like you're looking at a playground game, like just people shooting threes constantly. But like when you see teams really moving the ball and getting the open shot properly, or mixing it up with driving the lane and attacking and creating some action and kicking out properly and things like that, then it's great. I thought for a long time that I really enjoyed the post-up game, but I like this a lot more.
Oh,
it's really.
I think right now with the way, because of COVID and the way the NBA is running, in the bubble,
they're doing a great job.
I think that you're seeing the actual best team playing because there's no crowd involved, there's no home court advantage. It's just, like mano a mano. You're
Yeah.
you're playing like